He was a man of blood and thunder, a ruthless pagan warrior emperor, but at the twilight of his life he had an epiphany that changed not only his life but also the course of history. He is Emperor Constantine, the man who led Rome from darkness into light, from paganism to Catholicism. How did it happen? Let's find out in today's episode. Constantine was born in 272 AD in the city of Naissus, in what is today Serbia. His father, Constantius, was the Caesar of the western part of the empire, while his mother, Helena, was a concubine, whom he later elevated to the rank of Augusta. You know the drill. Imperial concubines were never really the mother type, the kind of women who would sing lullabies and rock their kids to sleep. No, they were more interested in making sure their precious little emperors grew up with a firm grip on power. And boy, did they do that. When Constantine was only 6 years old, his dad, Constantius, sent him to live with his grandmother, Julia Maesa, in the imperial court in Iberacum, today's York in Britain. Basically, this was like sending your kid to the prestigious boarding school of the Roman Empire. It was a place where young minds went to become future emperors. I mean, come on, even the great Augustus had been sent there for his education. But it wasn't all sunshine and roses. While Constantine was studying rhetoric and philosophy, he also had to deal with the usual teenage angst, like the death of his older brother and his own failed romance with a woman named Minervina. Yep, even emperors have bad luck in love. At 18, Constantine was sent to be a military tribune in the household troops of his father's Gaulish court. He didn't wait long before showing everyone what he was made of. In 305, when Constantius decided to retire and divide the empire between his 3 adult sons, Constantine got the province of Britain. The other 2 provinces went to his brothers, Dalmatia and the East. So now we've got 3 emperors ruling 3 different parts of the Roman Empire. That's right, we're talking about a period known as the Tetrarchy, which literally means rule of 4. But the peaceful distribution of power didn't last long, because soon after Constantius retired, he died, probably from a botched mercury treatment for an ingrown toenail. I'm not kidding. Yeah, that was the official cause of death given by the historians of the time. Anyway, after Constantius kicked the bucket, Constantine became the sole ruler of the Western Empire. Now, if you think having 1 emperor instead of 3 sounds like a step back, you'd be right. I mean, how does a single emperor manage such a huge empire? Well, turns out it's possible thanks to some nifty inventions like roads, aqueducts and advanced farming techniques. All these bad boys came together to form what's called the Pax Romana, or Roman peace. It was a time of relative calm and prosperity throughout the empire, which lasted for about 200 years. Sure, there were still wars and crises every now and then, but overall it was a pretty sweet deal. However, this golden age of Roman history was about to come to an abrupt end thanks to one man, Maxentius, the usurper. Originally a simple soldier, Maxentius rose through the ranks and declared himself emperor of the Western Roman Empire while serving under Constantine. And you can bet Constantine wasn't going to take this lying down. War was imminent, and the result was the Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312. There's a lot of mystery surrounding this battle because, unlike most historical events, we don't have much documentation of it. Our knowledge comes from a handful of sources, including Eusebius, who wrote a detailed account of Constantine's rise to power and the conversion of the empire to Christianity. According to Eusebius, the battle began with a vision. As the story goes, in the days leading up to the battle, Constantine saw a cross of light in the sky with the words, "In this sign conquer." Not one to ignore divine intervention, Constantine took this as a sign from God and used it to boost his troops' morale. The next morning, both armies assembled on the banks of the Tiber River. Maxentius was confident in his army's strength, which numbered around 10,000 men. They were ready to crush Constantine's forces, who had around 4,000 soldiers. But then something unexpected happened. Before the battle commenced, Constantine ordered his troops to affix a labarum, a military standard, featuring the Christian Chi Rho symbol to their shields. This was a symbol that identified them as Christians. It looked something like this, by the way. When the battle started, Constantine's soldiers charged forward carrying these shields. For the pagans, seeing this strange new symbol sent a shiver down their spines. Some thought it was the goddess Minerva, others believed it was Apollo. It didn't matter. Everyone was scared. Even Maxentius was intimidated. He tried to rally his troops, but his own men had lost faith in him. The battle ended with Maxentius drowning in the Tiber River and Constantine emerging victorious. Now here's the thing, some historians argue that the whole vision from God and conversion on the battlefield story was fabricated by Constantine's PR team, the Eusebians. They wanted to paint Constantine as a Christian martyr, even though he probably didn't convert until near the end of his life. But let me tell you, whether Constantine truly had a vision or not, he knew how to use symbols effectively. That Chi Rho symbol on the soldiers' shields was like a psychological weapon. It created doubt in the minds of the pagans, which might have made them less likely to fight. Plus, the Romans believed in lots of gods. So seeing a symbol they didn't recognize was enough to throw them off their game. After conquering the West, Constantine needed to deal with his brother Licinius, who ruled over the East. He was not happy about sharing power and tried everything to destroy Constantine. However, in 316, after 4 years of tense standoff, Constantine defeated Licinius and absorbed his territories into his own. With all of Rome now under his control, Constantine wasted no time in reshaping the empire. He issued the Edict of Milan in 313, which granted religious tolerance throughout the empire. This meant that Christians could worship without fear of persecution and even gave them the right to reclaim property that had been confiscated by the state. Moreover, Constantine reorganized the government, reformed the army, and built new roads and aqueducts. Basically, he was like a Roman MacGyver, except with more togas and sandals. Around this time, rumors started swirling that Constantine had converted to Christianity. Some stories claim he was baptized on his deathbed, while others say he converted earlier in life. There are even legends about miraculous healings and divine visions, but most of them are probably just that, legends. What we do know is that Constantine remained tolerant of other religions, even after supposedly converting to Christianity. In 325, he convened the First Council of Nicaea to settle a dispute over the nature of Jesus Christ. The council produced the Nicene Creed, which defined the relationship between Jesus and God the Father, and clarified that Jesus was both fully divine and fully human. This creed became a cornerstone of Christian theology and is still recited in churches today. After all these achievements, Constantine's final project was to build a new city that would become the center of Christendom, Constantinople, the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire. Built in 330 on the site of the ancient Greek colony of Byzantium, it was strategically located on the Bosporus Strait, controlling access to the Black Sea and the Sea of Marmara. This made it easier for trade ships traveling between the Mediterranean and the inland parts of the empire to navigate and protect against potential invaders. Sadly, we can't tell you much more about the details of this grand city, because when the empire split in two and the Goths sacked Rome in 410, all the records were lost. Nevertheless, archaeologists have uncovered many artifacts that help us understand what life was like in Constantinople. So how did Constantine go from pagan emperor to Catholic icon? Well, as I said, the exact details are murky. We've got a few theories, but no one knows for sure. Some say he converted after his vision and subsequent victory at the Milvian Bridge in 312. Others claim he didn't become a Christian until he was close to death. What we do know is that Constantine's mother, Helena, played a significant role in his spiritual journey. She was a devout Christian who had secretly converted years before Constantine's birth. According to legend, she traveled to the Holy Land, where she found the true cross, the very same one on which Jesus Christ was crucified. But of course, this story is highly debated by scholars who argue that the cross was probably just another piece of wood that Helena had mistakenly identified. Regardless, Constantine shared his mother's interest in promoting Christianity. He funded the construction of churches across the empire and hosted the First Council of Nicaea in 325. Whether he was a genuine believer or a shrewd politician using religion for political gain, Constantine's actions had profound consequences for the course of history. He essentially laid the groundwork for Christianity to become the dominant religion in the Western world, shaping the cultural, social, and political landscape for centuries to come. What do you think about the conversion of Emperor Constantine? Do you believe his story of the vision at the Milvian Bridge? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.